Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Hare Hare Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Vrindavan. Jaya Lata Vishakha Jaya Radhacharan, Lata Vishakha Radhacharan. Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gaura. Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Gurudev. नित्यानंद पुस्तक जैन विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजक चर्चा अष्टोत्तर शतक श्री श्रीमद् एसी भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव भक्त वृंद की जय। नमाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। जय श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ षडो गोस्वामी प्रभुगण की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री भासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। जय श्री श्री वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की जय। जय श्री श्री नवदीप मायापुर धाम की जय। जय श्री श्री पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। जय श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय। जय श्री श्री द्वारका धाम की जय। जय श्री श्री अयोध्या धाम की जय। जय श्री श्री बद्रिका धाम की जय। जय श्री श्री कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदायिनी श्री श्री वृंदा देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। जय श्री श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। जय श्रील प्रभुपाद ट्रांसेंडेंटल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद लीलामृत की जय। उपस्थित समस्त भक्त वृंद की जय। ताय गौर सीतानाथ प्रेमानंदे हरि। All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada की जय। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवंश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं स हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधा कान्त नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्नाय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतसी नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयति गिरिं जत्कृतं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदिनतारिणं श्रीपरमानन्दं नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे हरे कृष्णा so first of all I am very grateful to all the devotees who are here, Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis who are present here and also who are listening online. This session actually, this session belongs to Devi Shakti Mataji. You know, somehow or other she has to go for some urgent work to Mayapur, TOVP. She is working as one of the legacy of Prabhupada's legacy. So she has to maintain certain things. So that's why she ordered me to give a class, but I'm not qualified. Definitely, I'll seek the blessings and mercy of all the listeners and the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis so that I can speak on this subject matter little bit. Prabhuji can laptop. So that actually English session I have never given before. So this is the first time. So maybe tell me some incoherence from my side. So you can, but it is displayed on the board anyway. Um, yeah. Okay. So actually this is a continuation of the previous lecture. Those who are here, who are heard from Mataji. So we are at this fourth volume, and the title of this chapter is London, a dream fulfilled. So in that you have heard from Mataji how this, we are here. I think this is the last slide Mataji had showed. So basically, Prabhupada, after he finished his lunch, there are few devotees who are who later on become his disciples, Prabhupada disciples. So they came to meet Prabhupada. Who are they? George, John, Yoko, and some of the other visitors. So they went upstairs to meet Srila Prabhupada, and then Srila Prabhupada had a conversation with them. Then they greeted Prabhupada, Hare Krishna, and Prabhupada is very grateful to them, and Prabhupada thanked them for coming to meet him. And then Prabhupada told one sloka from Bhagavad-Gita, Jajjat acharate seshta tattat icharodana sajat pramanam kurute lokas tadanu vartate. So that shloka means, Prabhupada said, you all are not ordinary souls. You people are very great people in the London city, right? So since you, whatever you do, people will follow you. This is the proof of Bhagavad-Gita. He said, whatever the great souls they do, and the ordinary souls they follow, right? So that is how then Prabhupada had a conversation with them, and he requested, what all scriptures you are reading? Prabhupada asked them. Then, are you reading Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is? And they said, we have read, there are many versions of Bhagavad Gita. So what is the speciality about this? So then Prabhupada told, if you are very serious, you have to read this version. So obviously Prabhupada says, only read my version. Then obviously anybody will ask, why your version, why not other versions? There are more than 650 versions, editions of Bhagavad Gita. But then Prabhupada said, as it is the most important, because everybody has their own personal motive. So like that, in the end, then Prabhupada, since some of them, like George Harrison, he was a great musician, Apple Company, he used to compose many bhajans and kirtan of Srila Prabhupada in a very melodious way. And we'll see how Prabhupada will appreciate his uh, qualities. Krishna has given every soul some certain qualities. We have to utilize that for service of Krishna, not for our own glorification. Then pride will breed in our mind. So then Prabhupada spoke of the importance of music in the Vedas. The Samaveda, he said, is full of music, right? Om Tad Vishnuhu Paramam Padam Sada Vasyanti Suraya. It's a very melodious way. These mantras, Veda mantras, still they are there. So every sloka or every verse is a musically it can be. By music, we can get connected also to Krishna. Like we do our kirtan every day. We sing the Mangalarti, Guru Puja so nicely. No, devotees, different melodies they sing. So like that. So then Prabhupada quoted three slokas from Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto. These are the three slokas. I hope all of you are very aware. And what is that? Prahlad Maharaj is teaching 7th canto, chapter 5, verse number 30, 31, and 32. So I'm just reciting that. You can just read it on the board. Matirna Krishne Parata Satova Mitha Abhivadde Tabriha Vratanam Adanto Bhir Visatam Tamisram Punasarvita Charvananam. I'll read the meaning later on. Let me finish the verses first. नते विदु स्वार्थ गतिं हि विष्णुं दुराशया ये बहिरर्थमानिना अंधे अंधा यथान्धैरुपनीयमानाः स्तेऽपि शास्त्रं पुरुदां निबधा नैषं मतिस्तावदुरुक्रमं स्पृश्यते अनर्थात् महीयसम्पादरजाभिषेकं निष्किञ्चनानां न न वृणात जावा. Beautiful slokas, Srimad Bhagavatam. The meaning, it is there in the next, you can see here. So, Prahlad Maharaj, Narad Muni, he is teaching to Yudhishthir Maharaj. When he was inquiring about the pastimes of Prahlad Maharaj, a 5-year boy, how he is fearlessly teaching to his own father, Hiranyakashipu. You know the story, I'm not going to details. So how he went to Gurukul, Prahlad Maharaj, and he was taught by Sandha Namark about politics, economics, how to earn more money, how to enjoy life, right? Politics means duplicity. Somebody is your enemy, somebody is your friend. So Prahlad Maharaj was not interested in that. He was a devotee from birth. In the previous life, he was Sumukh. He was a bodyguard of the Vaikuntha, just like Jai Vijay. So he says, just like a magnet attracts the iron. Similarly, my mind, my consciousness is naturally attracted to Vishnu. What can I do? So then various things he told to his father, you are Asura Varya, you are a materialist. So he says, don't waste your time in this. One should not waste his time in the gruha as a gruhamedhi, simply enjoying the senses. One should give up the home and go back to Vrindavan. Vanam Gachet. Vanam Gachet means Vrindavan. Then he said, Sravanam Vishnam, Sravanam, uh, uh, Archanam Vishnam, Smaranam Padasevanam, Archanam Mandaram Dasam, Saksham Atma Nivedanam. He says, these are the 9 processes one should follow. And Hiranyakashipu was so angry, he was very furious. He literally threw Prahlad from his lap. So then Prahlad is telling these 3 verses, in the 30, 31st and 30. So he says, because of their uncontrolled senses, persons too addicted to materialistic life make progress toward hellish conditions and repeatedly chew that which has already been chewed. That means sense gratification, unrestricted sense gratification. We have been doing for so many births after birth, still we are not satisfied. And how one can be satisfied again by doing the same thing? So their inclinations toward Krishna are never aroused, either by instructions of others, by their own efforts, or by combination of both. This is very important for us as a practitioner, as a sadhaka. Suppose we are unable to control our senses, because Rupa Goswami, he clearly says in his own instruction, in the preface, he says, everyone should be a Goswami. Everyone, first step of devotional service is to become a Goswami. Then you can understand these instructions. That is why Prahlad Maharaj is telling in this sloka, what he is telling? Unless one has controlled the senses and he is addicted to materialistic life, ahara nidra bhaya maithun, there is no question of understanding the instructions of spiritual master. He may attend many classes, Bhagavatam, he may attend Gita classes like you people are doing, but still nothing will go inside the brain. So then he says, the next sloka, persons who are strongly entrapped by the consciousness of enjoying material life and who has therefore accepted as their leaders or guru a similar blind man attached to external sense objects cannot understand that the goal of life is to return home back to Godhead and engage in the service of Lord Vishnu. So many, you will see, I'll show the next slide, I'll show a fake guru. There is a Maharshi Jogi. He was from Madhya Pradesh. He had his degree from Alwar University. And he was a very long beard and long hair. He was very famous worldwide. And all these 3 people who came to meet Prabhupada, just now I mentioned, George Harrison, Yoko, and John. Not only they, there are so many other celebrities, some of the actresses, actors, they are also his big followers. And we will see in the next slide also how he used to cheat people, how he was a fake guru. Later on, they got attached to Srila Prabhupada, these 3 people. That's why they came to meet Srila Prabhupada. So then, then Prahlad Maharaj says, as a blind man is guided by another blind man. So the guru is also murkha, and the shishya, the disciple is also murkha. What will happen? Both will go to hell. That is what he is telling. They will miss the right path and fall into a ditch. Materially attached men, led by another materially attached man, are bound by the ropes of fruitive labor, which are made of very strong cords, and they continue again and again in materialistic life. Punah punah sarvitadam. Again and again they take bath. Suffer the 3-fold miseries. Adhibhautik, adhyatmik, adhidaivik. Then the last verse, 32nd, he says, unless they smear. So what is the solution? He has told the problem. This is the problem. One should not be addicted to sense gratification. But even in the current era, after joining ISKCON, many of us are also addicted. Many of the bad habits are still not going. So what is the solution? He gives a very nice solution. He says, unless they smear upon their bodies the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, completely freed from material contamination, persons very much inclined towards materialistic life cannot be attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, who is glorified for his uncommon activities. He says, Urukrama. Urukrama means who does supernatural activities. You have seen Krishna, so many demons he used to kill in Braj. Not ordinary, like 6 days he killed Putana, and 3 months he killed Sakatasur. and almost 1 year he's told he killed Trunavati. It's going on in the Hindi Bhagavatam section. So like that, he says, unless we smear our bodies, like in Vrindavan, we pay obeisances. So many Vaishnavas are walking, so their dusts are available. So just by smearing on our body, all this material contamination will disappear, and one will be automatically develop the attachment to the lotus feet of Krishna. He will have the urge to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra offenselessly. He will have the desire to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. He will understand the inner essence of Srimad Bhagavatam, like that. So only by becoming Krishna conscious and taking shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, in this way can one be freed from material contamination. It's a very wonderful. Yes, so these are the three celebrities. So they used to also be a follower of our that Maharishi. It is not there in the text. I'm telling out of text. So these are all bitless followers. So Danvir is there, the first one, and second you can see Neo Faro. They are all famous actors and actresses. So they are also staunch follower of Maharishi. And then he used to give secret mantras alone, not in like Prabhupada used to give Diksha in front of everybody. But he will call to his room privately and give the mantra. Later on, all these people they found, and the last one, of course, Judge Harrison. So they said, no, this mantra is the same. Why is he's calling to his room? Then they come to know from Neo Faro, from her, that once the so-called guru, he approached her and he wanted to sexually approach her. So then they go, oh, this fellow is a rascal. He's a fake guru. He's not a true guru. Then immediately they left him. And then they came to the shelter of Srila Prabhupada, because Prabhupada never did this kind of thing with any of the. That is why the uniqueness of our movement Prabhupada has established. We have to be very, very careful in our attitude and our behavior. People will watch us very carefully. So then with Judge Harrison, they came to meet Srila Prabhupada. So then you see what Prabhupada is telling. Then Prabhupada asked his guests what philosophy they are following. All these three people are there. Prabhupada said, are you reading some philosophy? Are you following? So then, following? John asked. We don't follow anything. Then Yoko said, we are just living. So they didn't know what is the philosophy. They just live like animals. Ahara Nidra, eating, mating, sleeping and defending. So then what George is telling, we have done meditation, said George. Or I do my meditation, mantra meditation. Actually, Judge Harrison was chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So they began to ask questions. The same question Prabhupada had heard so many times before. After hearing Prabhupada's explanation of Brahman, the all-pervading spiritual energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yako doubted whether Brahman could remain pure and not deteriorate in time. So in Bhagavad-Gita, it is very clearly said, it's Aksharam. It never deteriorates. Brahman substance means it never fades with the, it doesn't have any destruction. Just like in the second chapter, 13th chapter, so many places Krishna has described what is Brahman, Atma, Paramatma. All these descriptions are there. Since these people, they didn't read Prabhupada books, they'd have no conception about what is Brahman. So Prabhupada then advised that she should have to become a serious student before she could actually understand spiritual philosophy. So here you can see Prabhupada with Judge Harrison. John and Yoko, being devoted electics, had difficulty accepting Prabhupada's concept of Vedic authority. Because they had never understood Prabhupada. See how the knowledge will come by taking shelter of a spiritual master. The spiritual Divya Gyan Hude Prakashita. We sing in Guru Puja every day. Then John said, we still have to keep sifting through, like through sand, to see who has got the best. Then Prabhupada said, no, one thing you try to understand. Why these people, if Krishna is not the supreme authority, why they are taking Krishna's book? and translating. Got my point? So Prabhupada book that time uh, was very widely translated in all different languages. You can go to the library downstairs at Prabhupada's quarter. So almost practically every language they have translated. Here Prabhupada is talking about the Krishna book. So then, why don't you try to understand? So many people are doing, you also try to understand. It's not difficult. So then George is telling, I'm not, George Harrison is telling, I'm not saying Krishna is not the supreme. I believe that there is misunderstanding about the translation of Sanskrit Gita into English. So basically, the thing is, most of the foreigners, they didn't understand Sanskrit. But you know, the seven most important, I mean to say the essence. There was one time a spiritual conference, and different people across the world they came, and the most essence of the 7 points they found, which were presented, as from Bhagavad Gita. But so we should not ignore Bhagavad Gita. So similarly, here we see there is a misunderstanding about the translation of Sanskrit Gita into English, because they have not read Prabhupada's Gita. They have read some different Gita where it is personally motivated. The meaning was totally different. That's why they cannot understand. And I was saying that there are many versions, and I think whose George is telling, we think we and I think we thought you were trying to say your version, your translation was the authority, and that the other translations were not. But we did not rely, and we do not really have misunderstanding as to the identity of Krishna. So he is telling. So here you can see this Maharshi. Maheshwari. He has such a big beard, and you know, I told you how he used to cheat people. So later on he was caught. So Prabhupada, he's telling, that's all right. If you believe Krishna is the Supreme Lord, if that is your version, then you have to see who is the most addicted to Krishna. That is the proof. Who is more attached to Krishna? Who cannot live even a moment without Krishna? He is actually, he has understood Krishna. And like Prabhupada says, always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So that is all the rules, regulations are centered around this principle, Siddhanta. So these people are 24 hours chanting Krishna. That's like we chant every day. And another person who has not a single word Krishna, how can he become a devotee of Krishna? That is what Prabhupada. See how very expertly, this is called Daksha. Prabhupada is so expert. He just cut the judge statement by single one sentence. How much one is addicted to Krishna, that much he is actually a devotee of Krishna. How can he who does not utter even one name of Krishna become a representative of Krishna? So representative of Krishna means those who are saying Bhagavad Gita, like they are representing Krishna. Actually, they are preaching to others. If Krishna is authority and that is accepted, therefore, those who are directly addicted to Krishna, they are authorities. So Prabhupada is again and again using this word addicted. That means every day they only talk about Krishna, nothing else. So then, you see, you can see a very nice plate of prasadam. But the problem with this photo is he's taking on the wrong hand. Prasadam has to go on with the right hand, otherwise it is offensive. But when yeah, habit. Yeah, some people are left-handed, but even then, the etiquette is they should take prasadam in the right hand. So after more than 1 hour conversation, so Prabhupada tried in various ways how they should follow Prabhupada's philosophy. So Prabhupada distributed some prasadam to John, George, Yoko, and few disciples in his room. Actually, Haridas Thakur was also asked the same question by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked those who don't understand the philosophy, what is the hope for them? Haridas Thakur said, if they chant the holy name, they'll get delivered. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, there are some people who don't even want to listen, don't want to chant. At least then, Haridas Thakur said, if they hear, they listen. And like devotees, they go for Sankirtan, Nagar Sankirtan. the Prabhat Fairy. If they hear the holy name, whatever ordinary human being, even the trees and the insects and the beasts and birds, they will also get delivered. Then the next question, which Prabhupada gave a very brilliant answer when a disciple asked Prabhupada, we see when you go for Sankirtan, many people they put the hands, the finger in the ear, they don't have to even hear the holy name. What is the hope for them? Then Prabhupada gave this answer. Mahaprasade Govinde. At least give them some wonderful Krishna prasadam. At least if they get prasadam gradually, they regularly take, then slowly, slowly they'll develop the urge to hear, to chant the holy name. So this is what I just remember. You can see so many varieties of items are there. So, and practically Prabhupada made devotees like this only. ISKCON bullet, the gulab jamun. If these sreshtas mean they are very big celebrities were there, big people in the society. That's why here Satsvarup Das writes, if these sreshtas were to take up Krishna consciousness, that would be good for them and many others also. He had done his duty. Who? Prabhupada. Prabhupada says, I have done my duty and provided them the opportunity. Just like in Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna says in the 18th chapter, hmm, have you understood the Bhagavad-Gita properly? यथेच्छासि तथा करो. I have told you the Gita and I am ready to explain it again. Even then, it is up to you whether you want to follow Gita or not. Krishna is not forcing. It's the same thing here. The spiritual master, he will tell the instructions to the disciple. When the disciple doesn't want to follow, then what can the spiritual master do? At the most, he can offer some prasadam. Srila Prabhupada has already had an amazing effect on the world. There is no way of measuring it. And that means Prabhupada's movement was spreading like anything. One day, I just realized, Judge Harrison is telling, God, this man is amazing. He would sit up all night translating Sanskrit to English, putting in glossaries to make sure everyone understands it. And yet he never came off as someone above you. That means Prabhupada was hardly having any sleep. He used to sleep for 2.5 hours or maybe 3 hours. And every day, 1 o'clock, Prabhupada will rise up and he will translate Srimad Bhagavatam. It will come in the next year. So here you can see, this is the picture where you can see all the devotees. There are 6 devotees who were sent by Srila Prabhupada to UK to start the preaching movement. Actually, many of the God brothers of Prabhupada, they tried before. They went to UK, but there was no result. Not a single devotee they could make. Here you can see, in the evening, Prabhupada sat with the 3 couples. You can make out who are they? Syamasundar Prabhu and Malti, Gurudas Prabhu and Yamuna Mataji, Mukunda Prabhu and Janaki Mataji. So they are very famous. You know Yamuna Mataji, Govindam Adipurusam, and Gurudas Prabhu who made this temple. And then Syam Sundar, all of them have their own biography. If you have time, actually Mataji told me to have some research on their books and tell something, but the time is also constrained. So you can, it's available in the library. Syam Sundar Prabhu, Gurudas Prabhu, and or Mukunda Prabhu, Mukunda Goswami. All of them have written their books. So after a year's separation, they were happily with Srila Prabhupada, and he was happy to be with them. The love they shared and their mutual satisfaction at being together was based on unifying desire to establish Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement in this important city. So you see, when they went to London, they practically lived in a, what do you call that? Cowhead. That is cow shed. Uh, and there is no facility for them to eating. They used to cook themselves. A lot of struggle they had undergone. And later on, when the results came, Prabhupada was so happy. And Prabhupada, when he went there and met all six of them, there is no bound to his happiness. Uh, so they were sharing with each other. Now that Prabhupada had come to London, work could not slacken. It would increase under his expert guidance. When the spiritual master comes to us, all of us become more active. It's very natural. By the influence of the spiritual master, today my spiritual master, he just arrived from Odisha. So I was practically feeling the more enthusiasm in chanting and reading. Things are much, much, much more easier. So this is what the influence of this Prabhupada. Prabhupada could daily instruct the men on organizing more London preaching, and they could report to him as necessary. So this is what Prabhupada is to do with his six very advanced disciples. Uh, so then here you can see this Radha Krishna temple is there in London, they established. The Actually, many times we see the Matajis, some of the female disciples, they complain, "Oh, my Guru Maharaj is a sannyasi. I cannot do any, Bapu Seva." That is the. So, what are the means? So, here is the answer. The women could also directly serve him, whom? Srila Prabhupada, cleaning his quarters, washing and ironing his laundry, and cooking his meals. So many services are there. I see Jamuna Mataji, Malti Mataji, they are there, Janaki Mataji, and they are doing these services. No one can afford a house like this in England anymore, Prabhupada said. So that house they were living in a very posh, very gorgeous. So England has gone down. Spiritually, England has gone down. Now, these young boys own a place like this, and we are here. Prabhupada, Sam Sundar spoke up. So that means Prabhupada is appreciating the arrangements his disciples made for his stay, and he was very happy to see from the struggle what stage they have reached to what stage. So then Sam Sundar Prabhu, he was there. So Sam Sundar spoke up. Our record sold 50,000 copies yesterday. Hari Bol. So can you imagine? Such a figure, 50. Our book distribution scores are in few thousands, but as one day, 50,000 copies. Oh, Prabhupada's eye widened. Very big business. Prabhupada was so happy. He said, "Wow, what a great business you did." So like that. So, so this is the list of the these items like Govindam Adipurusam. There are so many records. Sri Gurvashtakam, Sansara Dava, Bhaja Bhakata Vassala Sri Gaura Hari. And that is the Rajbhogarti. Hare Krishna Mahamantra, various tunes, Sri Upanishad, and Bhaja Hure Mana, Sri Nandanandana, Abhaya Charana Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. So there are so many prayers, the spiritual master. So all these things were produced by Judge Harrison, and he sold practically, he became very world famous musician. That is obviously if Krishna and whatever talent we have just now I mentioned, if we utilize for Krishna's service, Krishna can give us more, like Prabhupada become more famous than Krishna. People didn't know Krishna, but they knew Prabhupada. So Prabhupada said that their money and energy should go towards opening the temple in the city. See, this is what message we have to get. Like I remember once I visited the temple, Lotus Temple in Tirupati. You know, Tirupati Temple. It is there are 7 hills are there. Balaji Temple is up. The at the feet of the mountain, they have the Radha Govind Ashtasakhi Temple. Beautiful temple. So there I heard that they used to do book selling in the Tirupati Tirumala every day, and like that it was built in 1985. And so much Lakshmi came. Tirupati is one of the richest temple, you know, the South Indian. So basically, and crores of Lakshmi came, rupees. So then the temple was built. So like that, so many places we see, even Juhu temple, so many book distribution is one of the whatever way the money comes. The first priority is to build temples because without temple preaching sometimes become difficult. Now they were living comfortably in this aristocratic state in the suburbs, and certainly they should try to involve these important celebrities in Krishna consciousness as far as possible. So many we see in even in the current era, many celebrities or famous people they also get attached. By that we can do the preaching work become more easy. Like Hema Malini is attached, you know, so many sports stars, you know, they are also following our movement. So we should utilize them, and that's what Prabhupada is telling. But the main business should be to open a temple in the city. Again, Prabhupada is telling, unless we have a temple, it is difficult. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati had preferred to establish temples in the cities where the people were. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, first his Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj. So here we see Prabhupada is following the footsteps of his Guru Maharaj. So of course, if John could give this place to Krishna, and if the devotees could maintain cows and cultivate the land as in New Vrindavan, then that would be a different matter. So indirectly Prabhupada is telling, John, you should give it to the us, to the ISKCON name. Many devotees they are donating to the society. So then Prabhupada says one can have some cows, Gosala should be there, and nice farmhouse should be there. And he's comparing with New Vrindavan. They would have to see what Krishna desired. So everything will depend on how Krishna is orchestrating, what is Krishna's desire. So based on that, things will happen. So like that, then Prabhupada, this is a photograph. You can see Radha Krishna temple, all these devotees, and those who are congregation devotees, they are there. So Prabhupada was sorry that some of his disciples were obliged to work full time renovating the estate in exchange for their stay. Mane, actually, where Prabhupada is staying, there are some work was also going on, renovation. Everything requires money, capital. So actually, Prabhupada never wanted his disciples to work as a karmi. But somehow that time there was not sufficient money, so some people part time they have to or full time. Here it is mentioned full time, full time renovating, work full time to renovate the estate in exchange of their stay. So Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, this is telling the reason why they should do like this. Prabhupada is feeling sad in his heart, but it was required. Then Prabhupada is telling Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, he said, had the serious work of cultivating spiritual knowledge and teaching it to others. And they deserve the respect and support of the rest of the society. So obviously Brahmana and Vaishnavas, that's like sannyasis are there, many brahmacharis and vanapastis, they have left everything. They have no income. And they devote their entire time for Shastra study, preparing lectures, and going to different places and preaching. Obviously, how they will earn their livelihood? It's not possible. So that is why to maintain the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, the Grahasthas especially, they have to work. They have to give their part of their income. Rupa Goswami says 50%. It's not at least part of that. So then then what will do? People will respect them. That is why they are respected. It is the job of the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas to cultivate the spiritual knowledge. Jajan, jajan, pathan, pathan, dan, patigrahan. These are the Brahmanas' 6 jobs. So the arrangement at Tittenhurst seem more business than charity. Actually, charity means you give something and that's it. But business means invest something and get something return. So that is not the mode of Srila Prabhupada. Though in our society, Prabhupada has told us to be self-sufficient, not to depend on others. Sometimes donation may come, may not come. That's why Prabhupada has made that platform. We should be autonomous, self-sufficient. That's why so many projects have come up. But they should tolerate it as temporary situation. So whatever things are there, they are just a temporary. So then you can see this photograph where you can see Jagannath Rath Yatra festival is there in the London those days. Prabhupada talked with Sam Sundar, Mukunda and Gurudas about their struggle to get housing permits and renovate the temple downtown. So they mostly those days don't used to they didn't have money to build the new temples. So they used to adopt some old church, some old broken house. They used to renovate it. Yeah. So Sam Sundar had been right. Prabhupada said to begin renovating the temple. Krishna would protect their investment. So to renovate, you have to invest some money. And then if you spend the money, if the project fails, then what will happen? But Prabhupada says, no, Krishna will definitely protect you, your investment. Then Prabhupada learned they had secured a series of public lectures that would commit him to 3 months in London. He smiled. So Prabhupada was very happy when he heard this his disciples, they have made 3 months stay. So Prabhupada is a very busy man. He was not like us. One day, where recently we went to preaching program, Panchagoda Prabhu also was coming with us, and he was telling how Prabhupada was managing. Whole night he used to have 3 hours sleep, 2.5 to 3 hours sleep. And after that whole day, he will do 5, 6 programs. He'll give a morning Bhagavatam class, little prasadam, then he will go for a college program, then another temple program and a village program, go to a factory or some. So many things Prabhupada used to do continuously, one after the other, non-stop. Then he was telling, just last week we went to some university. He was telling that in one day, and once in a week, if you go, we feel, oh, it's too much. Let me take 1 week. So that then we should get the motivation from Prabhupada. At least we should be able to every day some preaching activity. He would be glad to stay and preach in England, he said, for as long as it took to open the London center. So Prabhupada is highly committed. He wanted that by somehow or the other, the London temple should be, opening should be there. You can see the London Rath Yatra. This is a recent view. As you can see all the 3 chariots are there. First one Balabhadra, Subhadra and last Jagannath. So Prabhupada commended his 6 London pioneers. Who are they? Sam Sundar Prabhu and his and Malati Mataji, and then Gurudas Prabhu and Ramuna Mataji, and who else? Mukundan Janaki. Yes, Mataji is hearing attentively. So these 6 London pioneers, on succeeding where his sannyasi godbrothers had failed. This is what Prabhupada is mentioning. So many sannyasis, godbrothers of Prabhupada came, but they could not do anything. The reason he will tell now. Of course, Prabhupada's blessing was there. Whenever spiritual master gives order, instruction, he also empowers the disciple to do that. So he told them that because they had chanted Hare Krishna with faith, this is the main thing, they had succeeded. So the main point is faith. We are also chanting, but our faith is not that strong. If we are chanting with 100% faith, then we can get Krishna Prem very quickly. They were not great scholars or renunciant. They are grahasthas, ordinary grahasthas. So they didn't study many scriptures. But simply the faith in chanting was so empowered them, so much empowered them, they could do wonders which other sannyasis cannot do. Yet they had faith in the holy name and the order of their spiritual master. So this is two things: faith in the order of the spiritual master and faith in the holy name. Prabhupada said that he also was not a great scholar. Actually, Prabhupada is a very great scholar. He's just telling, I was also not a great scholar, but that he had staunch faith, the real requirement of spiritual success. Means he has staunch faith in the instruction of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. That is how he succeeded. Here you can see this is the Radhakrishna temple. I'll read it, then you can understand better. A devotee could go many places and accomplish many things, Prabhupada said. But this is the main thing. Unless he is free from material motives, lava puja patishtha. There is some interior motive, personal achievement, for personal achievement, then it will never become successful. He would not be able to implant the seed of bhakti into the hearts of others. The spiritual master, what he does? Prabhupada implanted the seed, bhakti seed, in the all the countries wherever he went. Later on, that fructified into bhakti vruksa, bhakti tree. So that is what Prabhupada is telling. And he is giving an example. This is the man in the dhoti kurta, you can see. Prabhupada cited Sivananda, who had gone alone to Hamburg and tried his best with faith in his spiritual master. Now, Krishna was blessing Sivananda with a little success, a storefront temple. This you can see behind. Newly recruited devotees, an interested professor, and other guests coming and chanting. Even one lone preacher could accomplish many things for Krishna, provided this is important. The preacher was free from sense gratification. Prabhupada says, I have zero desire for sense gratification. That's why people used to touch my feet. They used to respect me. They used to pay obeisances, even those foreigners. This is the key. That one should be completely, a preacher should be completely free from sense, desire for sense gratification and the desire for profit, adoration and distinction. Mana, puja, patishtha. These are the two prerequisites for a successful preacher. That's what Prabhupada is teaching. So then Hamburg, regarding Hamburg, it is not there in the book. It is this slide Devi Shakti Mataji has put. So Krishna consciousness came to Hamburg in October 1968. Two Americans and one native German formed the team for the first center in Central Europe. The Hamburg Krishna Consciousness Center will especially occupy itself with the task of translating and publishing a great volume of Krishna conscious literature into German language. The German language, you can see almost all the books have been translated. Prabhupada's. The German branch of ISKCON press was begun in April with the purchasing of a large offset press, so now known as Radha Press. And since that time, the staff has been built up to put out a regular monthly edition of Back to Godhead magazine, which is translated into German. Because Juruk Jur Gothetic and the first major work to be published by ISKCON Press will be Bhagavad-Gita as it is, as published by Macmillan. You know, na Macmillan Company is the largest selling Bhagavad-Gita in the world and co. Last year, the work for this began in August. So then, this you can see our Krishna book. What Prabhupada is telling. Srila Prabhupada used to rose every early about 1 a.m. He used to sleep from maybe 8:30 to 1 or maybe 9 to 1 and began dictating his latest book, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna began in Los Angeles 8 months before, was a summary of Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto. We know that is the summary of 10th canto. Starting in 1959, Prabhupada started in 1959 the first canto. Where? In Radha Damodar temple. Prabhupada had been translating each successive verse, giving a Roman transliteration, Sanskrit to English synonyms, the English translation, and then his commentary. That's the purport. So we know all the Bhagavatam slokas, we get this sequence. Transliteration and word to word meaning, translation and purport. That is the commentary of Prabhupada. Krishna, however, was all in English. That means this Krishna book was only in English. With translation and commentary blended together as translated stories. Prabhupada has written it in such a way, anybody, the newcomer, beginner, neophyte, if he reads Krishna book, even I remember when I read it, I was liking it so much. There are not only stories, there are many philosophies, many, so many things Prabhupada has included in that. This is the third canto of Bhagavatam, part 1, you can see here. So in his verse by verse translation of Bhagavatam, Prabhupada was that time on the third canto of Bhagavatam. Prabhupada was still working on the third canto. So to reach the 10th canto could make many years. That is why he wrote in advance Krishna book. But he was uncertain how many years longer he would live. And the thought of passing away without giving the world an authorized readable account, the 10th canto had been unbearable. So Prabhupada's so intense desire. If I don't give the entire Bhagavatam to the world, then of course, you see, most of the up to 13th chapter Prabhupada wrote, right? Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 13th chapter. After that, all these disciples they wrote. But most of the purports the disciples have taken from Krishna book, which Prabhupada has wrote. So being the account of Krishna's earthly pastimes, the 10th canto was a climax of Srimad Bhagavatam and the richest nectar of transcendental literature. Now Prabhupada had enough manuscript pages to print a first volume complete with the many color illustrations. He had commissioned his artists to paint. To print such a book would be expensive, and Prabhupada had no money, but he depended fully on Krishna and translated quickly in the quite early morning. So this is how Prabhupada, this is the last slide. Time is also up. So here you can see Prabhupada is playing the harmonium. So at 4:30, Prabhupada's secretary Purushottam, he entered, followed by Yamuna Dasi. So Purushottam, Prabhupada's disciple, he offered arti to Prabhupada's small Radhakrishna deities, while Jamuna, she watched, eager to learn. Prabhupada sang prayers accompanying himself on harmonium. So Prabhupada is playing the Mangalarti, Sansara Dava. During Prabhupada's Mangalarti ceremony, the other dozen or so disciples assembled for their own Mangalarti at the temple. As they walked the damp pathway to the temple, they felt the cold air and heard the bell and Prabhupada singing. They could see through the pre-dawn mist, the light coming from Prabhupada's window on the second floor, and the building looked like a lantern in the dark. This lantern. The sound of the harmonium drifted mystically through the trees. So this is how this ends this module of today's class. Srimad Srila Prabhupada's Lilamrita. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
ये ना